G'day traders, we're going to wrap up of Monday, 2nd of April. Got the daily chart up here. As we approach this day, this is Monday here. So as we're approaching this day, obviously Friday we're starting to push up and we've got that uptrend, and then the pre-market or after the weekend we're starting to push up as well. So some days you can really take a lot more significance from the dailies, and then other days, especially when it's pulled back a lot and it's sort of mid-range, you can be a little bit influenced by both ways. But this is especially a day where you really want to take note of where the dailies are at. It's pulled back, it's also got this momentum back to the upside, it's got the highs again in sight. We've got this, very much this market's been pushing up all year, so the buys are powerful, and this is the type of day where you really got to just think buy all day long, and it's going to be a tough day to look at sells, and it's worked out that way, and exactly what happened. The market pushed up all day long, and that was certainly significant from the dailies. And before starting each day, it's good to pick out some points. So I'll bring back the daily again just to show you some. So this day here, this is basically where we're starting the day off, and the top or the high is nearly 14.20, so that's definitely a point that I put down that the market could head towards. As far as if it decided to come down, these swing lows or previous lows are sort of prices you want to believe that the market would head towards, and you definitely want to have those prices sort of written down in front of you and being aware of what's happening, and note where strong support resistance areas are on the dailies. But definitely a day to head up. You can see on the 5-minute chart here, we kind of had a bit of a to and fro. It started to push down, then pull back towards cash market highs, push down again, then from there we got all this momentum, and then we started to break up. So at this stage here, definitely got to start looking at pullbacks. Just so happened that this pullback here pretty much came back to quite a strong support level, which I'll show you on the 1-minute chart over here. You can see the market's pushed up. We've got this little bit of a pull back and then head back up again. So that's formed support, which the market's come back, had a look at, and that's exactly where it's held, and then pushed higher again. As the predictive's crossing to the downside, we're in a strong uptrend. Normally that picks the peak of the pullback, and away it goes. So great area here. It's lining up with the PowerPoint, it's lining up with support, it's lining up with the 5-minute charts, had everything going for that area, and from there it just broke higher and pushed up. As we're approaching these highs, this is an interesting area as well. We kind of had a look at the highs, and it's definitely potentially an area where it's going to break and go. As you get to these significant areas, it's going to obviously do two things. It's either going to hold as resistance and bounce off, or push higher. So we kind of had to go once, and it shows you on the 1-minute chart a little bit better as well. We had to go once, pull back, and then had to go a second time. That's when it broke. But interesting enough, when I had to go the first time, the predictive, and you can see it over here, hadn't crossed to the upside yet. It then pulled back. As we're having a second go, and all them other markets are pushing, the predictive's crossing the upside. It was very evident that this area was going to break, and break really well, and that's what it did. It charged up another 8 or so points and pushed higher to this lunchtime period here. So basically now we're waiting for a pullback or something to really let us know what the market's going to do. Ideally, quite a decent pullback is what we want to get on, and look for a continuation of these buys. But it was quite a dull afternoon, which can quite often happen. There's two reasons for this. When you get consistent or massive trends like this, especially multiple trends, the markets tend to consolidate and tend to have sideways periods. Even though we only had one trend here, it still went, it had this consolidation period. Second factor is too, it got close to those 14.20 areas, which is the highs on the daily. So again, as soon as we start approaching these highs, and you'll notice that as soon as we start heading up towards the highs, the market slows right down, and there goes that battle between the buyers and sellers, and that creates sideways markets. As soon as we get a pullback, 10-15 points back, again the tussle comes, and that's when we start to get great movement and these multiple directional moves. So it all comes back to the dailies and their influence. So a continuation of sideways movement, we look like we want to push higher, then we start to break down. So this sell-off here would have been as a result of a lot of the buyers that made all their profit during the day, and they're just getting rid of their positions to finish the day, and as a result the market sold off a little bit. So nothing available there in that sell-off. Sometimes if you see it breaking down, then you get a bit of a pullback, especially if you see the Russell, some other markets pull back, then a go at the downside again. You can look at getting on those sort of things, but as far as this is concerned, it's just a straight drop, and it's very hard to get onto that. On the 1-minute chart here, you can see the battle to start off with: push down, push up, push down. Then we got going. Okay, we got on the upside 1, 2, 3 power points. So this is quite a good setup anyway. When you see 3 power points on the same side, take the next pullback, as long as it's with the dailies, and that quite often will work well in your favour. And the power point, pretty much it actually worked too well. It hit it exactly, and if you're sitting on that power point there, it wouldn't have got filled, which is unfortunate. So it is almost too good. From there we pushed higher, got to a yellow. Once we get to yellow, we're looking for a 2 power point pullback then to get back on the upside. But as we said, it had this very sideways market to where we pushed down. And sometimes these sort of trades right at the end you consider a fade if you had all these buys and you're expecting some sell-off, because of the fact we said they've got to get rid of the position, so expect some sellers to finish off the day. But sometimes it can be a little bit hit and miss, and I think you really need some pullbacks and a little bit more confirmation than just getting on something like this. It's certainly a little bit more of an aggressive trade. But anyway, the market's starting to pull back now, and just having a look at the pre-market. There we are there. So we have pulled back 8 points or so from those highs, which is good, encouraging. We'd like to see it keep dropping, and that will bring a little bit more action to the markets when we can't turn up the trade on Tuesday. So I'll speak to you guys then.